So, what is the most important plant in the bog?
The yellow plant.
No, the most important plant in the whole bog.
Is that brown? It's pink. It's a pink flower.
It's sphagnum moss. Did you ever hear of sphagnum moss?
No.
Hello, and welcome back to Echoes from the Bog. Today's episode is a very special one. We're finally turning our attention to one of RE-PEAT's most treasured and long-running projects, the Bog Academy. At RE-PEAT, we believe that lasting change begins with education. Shaping how new generations think, feel, and relate to the world is essential to shifting our collective mindset. Often, this shift begins quietly with small sparks of curiosity, new stories, and fresh values that begin to take root and slowly reshape our perceptions. And when it comes to peatlands, there's a lot of reimagining to do. Peatlands have long been misunderstood and undervalued, especially in Ireland where they've often been solely viewed as sources of fuel. Shifting this perspective, what we call the peatland paradigm, is central to our work. And what better place to start than with children?
Oh my god! Oh my god! I want to see what's
Find those.
I just see the yellow gingerbread.
Yeah, use the microphone.
The idea for the Bog Academy first took shape in 2021 when we received support from Ireland's Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage to design an educational programme about peatlands for local schools. We wanted to make peatlands come alive in the classroom, not just through facts and figures, but through feeling and direct experience. That's how Bog in a Box was born, a multi-sensory, hands-on learning toolkit that engages children's sight, hearing, touch, smell, and even taste, all in service of bringing the bog closer to them, no matter where they are. The aim of the program is simple but powerful, to change how peatlands are understood and valued. While peat is deeply woven into Irish cultural heritage, its historical association with backbreaking work and fuel extraction has left many with limited or even negative perceptions of the bog. For generations, children have primarily gotten to know the bog when cutting turf with their family, but with motions towards the phasing out of peat extraction in Ireland in recent years, a new space has opened up, a gap in meaning, in which peatlands can be reintroduced and reimagined as ecosystems full of life, beauty, and significance. That's where the Bog Academy comes in. By reintroducing children to these landscapes in new and meaningful ways, we hope to spark a sense of wonder and stewardship that extends far beyond the classroom. And it's not just the children who are impacted. Teachers, parents, and entire communities begin to see the bog in a new light. Every participating school has the opportunity to visit a local peatland, where the children can put their learning into practice. Walking through the moss, noticing the wildlife, breathing in the air, and beginning to build a real relationship with the land. It's in these moments that we see the paradigm begin to shift, where a bog becomes more than a background or a memory of labour, but something alive, something worth protecting.
Here, Froggy Froggy.
The first edition of the Bog Academy only involved 6 schools and 379 children. The programme is divided into 3 age categories, adapting to children ranging from the age of 7 to 12. Since then, we ran the program twice more and engaged 29 schools and 1,332 pupils in total. The strength of the Bog Academy lies in its hands-on learning approach. When combined with school excursions to local peatlands, the program gives children a holistic understanding of these precious landscapes. The stories shared during both the classroom sessions and the field trips are fascinating, not only for the children, but also for the adults that accompany them. In this episode, we want to offer you a glimpse of what it's like to be out in the field, surrounded by curiosity, bog magic, and the unique wisdom passed through generations of peatland stewards and the enthusiastic guides. Let's begin with the basics. What makes peatlands so special and why do they matter? To understand why preserving bogs is so important, we first need to understand how they work, not just as ecosystems but as time capsules. Here's a beautiful example shared during a school visit that shows just how extraordinary bogs can be.
I'm only going to say one more thing now, is about the preservation of the bog. Do you know that the bog can keep things in very good condition for thousands of years? I wonder why would that be? Yeah.
Because it's like moist and it can preserve for longer.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's because it's cold.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, is it because of the carbon?
It's not really. I'll tell you what's really about is about oxygen. You know how everything needs oxygen here to breathe? Well, this much of the bog has oxygen in it. And underneath all of that then there's no more oxygen. And if there's no more oxygen, things can't decompose, they can't rot. I did a little experiment last year where I got an apple and I cut it in half. And I buried it in a bog, one half of it, and the other half I put it into the soil. And I took it up after 1 month, and the one in the bog was perfect. Perfect. And the one that was in the soil was all in bits and ate by insects. And that's the difference. The bog can actually preserve anything.
At the centre of a bog's preservation power is one very spongy hero, sphagnum moss. It might not look like much, but this tiny plant has superpowers. Let's listen in.
So sphagnum can hold an awful amount of water. 20 to 25 times its own weight in water. So when I squeeze it, are you watching? Are you ready?
What?
Isn't that a lot of water from just that little bit that I have there in my hand? So that's what we're actually standing on. That's why if you stand in the bog and sometimes it feels like jelly. Now the thing about sphagnum moss is it's got antibacterial, antiseptic properties. And what that means is if you had a cut or if you had an open wound, this is fantastic for putting it on your wound. It'll dry it, keep it clean. And you saw during World War I, they were making plasters or big dressings out of the sphagnum moss. And I'll show you how to do that.
So bogs are places of scientific wonder, but most bogs in Ireland don't have all the properties they used to anymore. What does it take to get a bog back to life after it has been damaged, and why is that effort so important today?
A dry bog is a dead bog. It's not alive anymore if it gets dry. It needs to be really, really wet. So to put in 3,000 dams is actually 25 kilometres in length all the way around of dams. That was an awful lot of work, and it took a few years to do it to get it all completed. And why would they be bothering to do that? Just to protect this special site that's here. It's a special area of conservation, so it's precious. There's only 1% in the whole of Ireland left of active living bog, and what they mean is that the bog is the same as it used to be thousands of years ago. Nobody touched it. It hasn't been cut into. And they also chose this particular bog. They chose 12 around Ireland, but the reason they chose here is because we've got brilliant roads going all the way around the edges of the bog. And it meant that people can go around and enjoy the bog, and you can look at the bog, but you don't have to be walking across it and destroying it.
The conservation efforts like those made at Carnagapole Bog are vital for the reduction of carbon emissions, prevention of flooding, and protection of unique ecosystems. But peatlands aren't just sites of ecological importance or climate regulation. They are also deeply spiritual landscapes, places where mythology, memory, and material culture all intermingle in the layers of peat. For thousands of years, humans have turned to bogs not only for resources but for ritual. What lies beneath the surface of a bog isn't just moss and mud, it's a living archive of ancient beliefs, sacred offerings, and profound expressions of care, fear, and hope. In these quiet, wet walls, people once made contact with forces greater than themselves, gods, ancestors, and spirits of the land. And sometimes they left behind gifts. Let's take a moment to listen in on one of these stories. The story of bog butter, a peculiar, precious offering buried deep within the peat.
A few things have been found in the bog. Does any of you know of anything was found in the bog? Yeah? Butter, bodies, yeah? And also jewellery. Yes, there was a few bodies found. But this is what the bog butter would have looked like. And the reason that they would have buried the butter was communities thought that butter was, and it was precious, and they believed in different gods to what we do. And they wanted to make the gods happy so that everyone would be well and they'd get a good cereal crop, their animals would be healthy. So every family would give a little piece of this precious butter. And what they used to do then was they wrapped it in very light material, and they made these big caskets out of oak. And they put the butter into it and they buried it deep within in the bog. And this was a present to the gods.
Of course, not all gifts were as gentle as butter. Bogs have also preserved some of the most haunting and human traces of the past, the bodies of people who were sacrificed to the gods, often in moments of great communal significance. These ancient remains, known as bog bodies, offer not only archaeological insights but also emotional and ethical reflections. They remind us of how long people have related to these landscapes as sacred and how much they were willing to give in return. Let's listen to the story of one such body found not far from the site of our field trip, a a young man whose life and death are still held in the silence of the book.
I don't know, should I show you the bog?
It's fine.
Anybody who doesn't want to see,
Well,
just
if
close your
anyone
eyes
doesn't want
now.
to see, they can turn around.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I'm going to finish on this now. I decided I'd see where was the nearest bog body found. Now we don't know, there could be bodies in here. It has never been dug up, so we don't know. We have no idea. But 6 kilometres away from here in Castleblakeney, does anybody know Castleblakeney?
Yeah.
There was a body found there, imagine, in the 1800s. And he was called the Gala Man. And the reason he's called the Gala Man because it was in Gala, Castleblakeney that he was found. And the workers at the time, the landlords were called O'Callys or Kellys. And it was their workers that found this body. And word got around they'd found the devil. And can you imagine if you heard that somebody found the devil? Wouldn't you love to go and see what the devil looked like, wouldn't you? Yeah, you'd be glad to see it. So, what the Callys decided to do was, they were very greedy. And they decided they were going to make a lot of money. And they did an awful thing for 7 years. They charged people to come, pretend you dug up the body, and then cover it again. And then somebody else would pay money, and you dig it up and pretend that you just had found the body. And they did that for 7 years, which was dreadful. Awful thing to do. Thankfully it has been rescued, and it's now in the History Museum in Dublin. And because the body had been brought up so many times, I was talking to you about oxygen. It meant that the body then wasn't in great nick. You know, because every time it was being brought up and brought down, it wasn't being preserved. It was a 20-year-old man. His throat had been cut. He was a gift to the gods. And they wouldn't pick just bad people. They could pick, if you were a king, they would pick the king's son. Because they'd want the most precious person in that community to be the sacrifice. And that's what they truly did believe at the time. Now it's awful, obviously, for the poor devil that happened to, but they believed so strong that everything was good was going to happen by giving the life up of this young man. He was found with deer skin as a cloak, and that was in good condition. And he was held down by 2 wooden stakes and a bit of rope across him, so that the body wouldn't rise up, but also his soul wouldn't escape. That's what they believed at the time. I'm going to show it to you, and if you don't want to see it, it's okay, you can turn around. He doesn't look great, but anyway, this is what he looks like. Yeah, I know. A bit gory, I'm sorry, but it's just that the fact that he actually was found here so nearby is amazing.
Bog bodies are evidence that these areas have been seen as sacred spaces for millennia. People have long believed that bogs hold a connection to other worlds, to ancestors, and to the gods. Let's hear how our guide introduced this magical layer to a group of children.
Thousands of years ago, people believed that bogs were inhabited by spirits or by gods. When the sun sinks at night, it goes down into the other world where the dead are. And then it raises the next day. The redness of the bog indicates that this is a portal into another world. So this is a place where you can go to make contact with your ancestors. And imagine thousands of years ago, people honoured the bog in a completely different way to what we were doing with it. They truly believe that this is a magical place to come to. And I think it's just maybe nice of you to maybe think of the bog in a completely different way. Now that this bog is being preserved, and we're so glad that it is, we are all going to be using the bog now in another different way. We're not going to be cutting it. We're not going to be jumping in it. We're going to appreciate the lovely and magical nature that it is. Like all these things now are able to come back to life. It's going to take an awful long time for this bog to get back to the way it should be.
That reverence for the bog as a living, breathing being is at the heart of peatland restoration. After wandering through ancient rituals, myth and sacrifice, it's time to return to the present, to the beating heart of the Bog Academy. Because ultimately this program isn't just about preserving the past, it's about shaping the future. And who better to lead us there than the children themselves? One of the most moving parts of the Bog Academy is witnessing how kids begin to express their understanding of peatlands, not just through facts, but through feeling. Their poems, songs, and stories often reveal connections that are wise beyond their years. Like this one written during a class after visiting the bog, a haunting lyrical vision of destruction and rebirth inspired by what they saw and felt. The house in the bog. Once there was a house that moved through the bog. Encaged and barbed was the phoenix at bay. The house burst in flames as the tire was burnt, as the shackles bestowed. The bog rose in flames, and creatures cried, "O Phoenix, be kind and save us from this torment." They cried. The bog was burnt to ashes and blown away by the wind. And from then on, the phoenix was never seen, or so they say. Needless to say, we were incredibly impressed by this creation of an 11-year-old girl from one of the Irish schools. Let's listen in as Holly talks to the young author, drawing connections between the poem and their shared bog experience.
Wow, you had all these visions on the bog with your story. I'm just like, because yesterday we visited a bog and we were literally in this kind of like visitors center, like a big like building on the bog, and they were explaining how the house was moving because of the bog, because it's unstable like earth, you know, and then we saw a tire in the field, and so it was all like your story of what we saw in the day. So we were just like, how did this happen? Like, were you like there? Like, I don't know.
And the way it bursts into flames, I think that symbolizes how the turf is, the people are eating the turf away bit by bit.
Okay, so that's how like you, it's not actual fire. It's like, wow, you have great imagination. That's and the phoenix, like, do you?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know?
I just did that one.
Oh.
But I think for people that would be the gods.
Because you've had some, like, they've explained to you how they were cherishing gods through the peat, and so that's what came to you.
Yeah.
That kind of reflection is exactly what we hope for through the Bog Academy, not just learning, but meaning making. Here's the experience viewed from the perspective of our own members, Isis.
By going into the classrooms, we've been able to get back so much more than we ever could through emails or surveys or pictures, because we actually got to see it happen live. We got to see what worked for the kids and what didn't, and even the influence it had on some of the teachers. Like, we had teachers there that had very similar opinions and a similar way growing up around bogs and not appreciating them, and now they got to interact with this program and they got to see the bog that maybe they've lived near to for a long time and they've never actually visited. And to see that influence on 2 generations, to see it live, it was so rewarding for us and helpful for the program to get all of these points to work on and things that can benefit us in the long run.
And for all the big ideas, sometimes it's the smallest moments that leave the biggest impression. Here's what some of the students had to say about their favorite parts of the experience.
My favorite part was probably the boardwalk bit, because it was really fun.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
My favourite part was seeing all the fungus on the stumps.
My favourite part was like the forest and everything. Seeing the forest and the mushrooms.
Lovely.
My favourite part was going on the boardwalk, I'd say.
My favourite part was probably listening to the nature about like the bogs and stuff.
Brilliant.
My favourite part was walking on the boardwalk.
My favourite part was learning that the bog grows a metre every 1,000 years.
My favourite part was learning about the different animals at the start.
My favourite part was just exploring.
Lovely.
My favourite part was getting to go into the bog.
My favourite part was the nature.
All of the nature.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
My favourite part was probably learning about the sphagnum moss.
Brilliant.
My favourite part was the boardwalk.
Lovely. Anyone else? Tell me their favourite.
My favourite part was eating the cranberries.
My favourite part was going on the boardwalk and learning about all the fungus.
My favourite part was hiding from the teacher.
My favourite part was the whole thing.
Brilliant.
My favourite part was just walking and observing nature.
Lovely.
My favourite part was running around, enjoying myself.
Brilliant. That's super.
See, I got brilliant.
And that's really what it's about. At its heart, the Bog Academy is about empowerment. We want to equip children with the knowledge, tools, and emotional literacy to become caretakers of their environment, to think critically, collaborate generously, and imagine boldly. We believe education can be a catalyst for transformation and that children are not just the leaders of tomorrow, but already shaping the conversations of today. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Bog Academy. If there's one thing we hope that this episode has shown is that peatlands are not just landscapes. There are classrooms, archives, sacred grounds, and spaces for connection. And when we invite children into these spaces with care and creativity, something truly magical happens. We'd like to thank all the teachers, guides, and especially the students who took part in the program and whose voices and visions you've heard throughout this episode. And thank you to Ireland's Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage for funding this project. If you'd like to learn more about the Bog Academy and bring it to your school or community, visit us at re-peat.earth or follow us on Instagram at re-peat.earth. Until next time, keep listening, keep wondering, and keep your ears open for echoes from the bog.